This summer, we took a 2-week family road trip. These are days 4 and 5, Denver to South Dakota to Minnesota. We started the morning of the 4th day by hightailing it out of Colorado. We actually spent more time driving in Wyoming this day than anywhere else, but had no stops planned there, and so I've condensed that 5 hours of driving down to about a minute, since it all pretty much looked like this anyway. Don't get me wrong, Wyoming is beautiful, but you can only look at so much prairie in a YouTube video. We finally made it to South Dakota, our final destination for the day, got checked into our hotel, then immediately got back in the car for the drive to Mount Rushmore. My wife and I had been to Mount Rushmore on our honeymoon, and we were unimpressed, but we decided to take the girls so they could say they had been. On that first trip, we had taken the main road in from Rapid City. This time we were coming in from the south and took Route 16A, which is the scenic route to Mount Rushmore through the Black Hills. The route was designed with tunnels that frame Mount Rushmore as you come through them.
See it right there? Right in front of us.
To compensate for elevation without having switchbacks, the road has several pigtail bridges. It was a beautiful drive, leading up to the 15 minutes we were actually at Mount Rushmore. By the way, your National Park Pass doesn't work to pay for parking at Mount Rushmore. You have to pay regardless. But your parking receipt is good for a year in case you ever want to go back and spend 10 more minutes looking at the mountain. We also decided to visit Crazy Horse Monument, which was on the way back to our hotel. Be warned, it's expensive to get in, but for a monument that's being funded entirely through private donations and entrance fees, and not the National Park Service, I figured it was a good cause. After Crazy Horse, we stopped at the Mount Rushmore Brewing Company for dinner. It was amazing, and if you're ever in Custer, South Dakota, I highly recommend stopping in. Day 5 was going to be our longest day of driving yet. We started the day by heading to the Badlands. The fastest route that Google Maps planned for us had us going on a state-maintained gravel road, which was nothing the 4Runner couldn't handle. The drive was beautiful, and crossing the Cheyenne River was gorgeous. Then, we crossed a cattle guard and passed a small green sign telling us we were entering the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, and the road immediately turned into an obstacle course of mud ruts.
I'm seeing the sunrise behind me.
We finally got into the Badlands area, only to find that the visitor center we were planning on stopping at was closed. So we hopped back on another gravel road, intending to meet up with the Badlands Loop in the north part of the park. The Sage Creek Road twists and turns through the lesser traveled parts of the park before meeting up with the Rim Road, which would get us over to the main part of the Badlands. Unfortunately, Rim Road was closed, but right at the barricade, there were 3 grazing bison and a prairie dog town. We stopped and just watched. Because of the way we'd come in, there were no crowds. It was just us and 1 or 2 other cars that had come in the same way. We did find a roundabout way to the main entrance for the park and started driving on the Badlands Loop. The park was packed, and we'd already spent more time getting there than I had planned, so we didn't stop at every overlook, but just took in the scenery from the car. After the Badlands, it was back on the road for the 8-hour drive to St. Cloud, Minnesota, where we would just be spending the night before continuing on to Lake Vermilion the next day.